Power Girl is one of the most enduring and polarizing figures in the entirety of DC Comics universe. Since her first appearance in All-Star Comics number 58 in 1976, she's been at the centre of debates surrounding gender representation, creativity intent, and the consequences of editorial tinkering. She entered the scene during a moment when DC was actively revitalising its golden era of heroes through the concept of Earth 2, a parallel reality that allowed the publisher to honour its past while telling new stories. From the start, Power Girl was more than just a counterpart to Supergirl. She was designed as a bolder, brasher, and more independent female hero who could stand toe-to-toe with the veteran members of the Justice Society of America. Before Power Girl can be fully understood, it is important to grasp the fictional universe she came from. Earth 2 was a key part of DC's multiverse. Introduced in the early 1960s to solve a continuity problem, DC had two versions of many of its heroes: the Golden Age versions from 1930s to the 1940s, and the modern Silver Age, introduced in the 1950s to 60s. Rather than discard the older iterations, DC created the concept of multiple Earths existing in parallel. Earth 1 housed the modern versions of superheroes like Superman, Batman and Wonder Woman, while Earth 2 was home to the original Golden Age heroes and their histories. Characters who had aged, retired, or passed their mantles on to a new generation, like the JSA. This structure allowed DC to create fresh characters linked to older icons. In this framework, Power Girl was introduced as the younger cousin to Earth 2 Superman, much like Supergirl was to Earth 1 Superman, but with a sharper personality and a distinct identity. Earth 2 gave her a clean slate, allowing her to exist without conflicting directly with the mainstream continuity, at least until the multiverse collapsed, that is. Power Girl's debut in All-Star Comics 58 was significant, not only for introducing a new superheroine, but also marking a tonal shift in how DC depicted female characters. As Kara Zor-El of Earth 2, she shared Superman's Kryptonian origin and possessed similar powers: super strength, flight, invulnerability, and enhanced senses. Yet, unlike her Earth 1 counterpart, Supergirl, she was more outspoken, more confrontational, and less willing to defer to the authority of an older male hero. Her early stories emphasised her determination to prove herself. She challenged the Justice Society's assumptions, demanded a place in the room based on merit, and resisted being treated as a kid sister or sidekick. In the social climate of the mid-70s, when women's roles in media were beginning to shift, Power Girl's no-nonsense demeanour struck a chord. Power Girl's Earth 2 origin lasted less than a decade before editorial mandates upended it. In Crisis on Infinite Earths, DC eliminated the multiverse, merging Earth 1, Earth 2, and other parallel realities into one singular shared universe. This was meant to simplify continuity, but it created a problem. Superman was now the sole Kryptonian survivor, leaving no place for a cousin from another universe. The solution was drastic. Power Girl's backstory was rewritten so that she was no longer Kryptonian at all. Instead, she became a granddaughter of the ancient Atlantean sorcerer, Arion. This mystical origin felt disconnected from her established identity and alienated a lot of fans. Worse, it created inconsistencies in her powers and a history that would plague the character for decades. Subsequent reboots, including Infinite Crisis, rebooted her Kryptonian roots, while the New 52 once again reimagined her as an Earth 2 refugee. Each change brought new details, but also eroded narrative stability, making her one of the most retconned characters in the entire DC universe. Even more than her shifting origins, Power Girl's most visually recognisable trait is her costume, a white skin-tight leotard with a circular cutout over the chest, the infamous boob window. In real-world terms, this design was widely attributed to Wally Wood, who, according to anecdotal accounts, drew her bust slightly larger with each appearance, as a tongue-in-cheek experiment to see if anyone at DC would stop him. They did not. Of course they didn't. And the look stuck. Critics have long pointed to the outfit as an example of over-sexualization of the female superhero, arguing that it undermines the seriousness of her character, and I honestly do get that angle. But defenders counter that, saying the costume is part of her bold, confident persona, and that she wears it on her own terms. The debate is emblematic of larger conversations in the comic culture about agency, empowerment, and the role of the male gaze in comics. Writers have occasionally addressed the costume controversy directly in the comics. In one memorable in-story explanation, Power Girl says she left the space open because she had not chosen a symbol yet to represent herself. This turned a provocative design element into a metaphor for her ongoing search for identity, and I think that does fit the character given her over-sexualization throughout the years, turning it into a more of a statement piece rather than look at me, I have tits. It's particularly relevant for a character who has been repeatedly rewritten by forces outside of her control. This self-awareness became a hallmark of her portrayal in later years, blending meta-commentary with character development. By owning the visual element that sparked so much debate, Power Girl's stories transformed the boob window into both a joke at the industry's expense and a statement of individuality. Over the decades, Power Girl has remained a lightning rod in discussions about superhero comics. Her Earth 2 roots connect her to DC's golden legacy, while her constant retcons highlight the instability that can come from long-term serialization. Her costume continues to inspire arguments about whether it represents confident self-expression or exploitative design. Ultimately, Power Girl is a study in contrasts. She is both a feminist-leaning character and a product of a male-dominated industry. She has a strong, assertive voice, yet has been repeatedly stripped of agency throughout editorial rewrites. She is an icon of Earth 2's history, yet has been forced to survive without her original world. These contradictions, paired with her enduring popularity, have cemented Power Girl as one of DC's most complex and controversial heroines. She is not simply a female counterpart to Superman, but a character whose very existence sparks questions about continuity, creative intent, and the cultural role of superheroes. Well folks, what do you think of that? I personally love the character of Power Girl, from what she represents. Not just the boob window shit, but in recent years she's become a mainstay in the DC universe, and she's able to show that she's much more than the boob window. And here's a few of her costume changes over the years. Some of them are drastic and some of them are a bit too much. But yeah, let me know what you think. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Do you like Power Girl? Peace.